podcast.
Bang, bang.
Sir Django in that bit.
Bang, bang, boomerang.
Miss Ash.
JC. Hey.
Wow, with exclamation mark. And
Exclamations.
we got a guest in the building.
GameNerd Boogie in the building.
What's
it do?
Yay.
Game?
Game.
Nerd.
Boogie.
Boogie.
Hey. As
Very
always, we
excited to
got
have you.
Ambitious Ace in the building.
What's going on, y'all? What's going on?
Oh,
What's
it's back.
going on?
Oh, it's back.
Wait a minute, let me do it correctly. What's going on?
What's going on?
It comes with a bit of there's something that's going on if you say what's going on.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It's just some bullshit. So who's gonna kick us off with the interview? Like what's
Bang Bang's gonna kick it off.
Yes, man. So we got a special guest in the building. We got GameNerd Boogie in the building.
so
Yes,
first
sir.
of all,
Yes,
who
sir.
met who? What happened? How did it
I know
start?
GameNerd for a minute. You know,
I think we met at Versus Realm.
Yeah,
Oh, y'all met at
Versus
yes.
Realm.
It was a minute ago.
Okay.
Yeah, a while ago.
It was.
Was you at the tournament?
No, I think it was a little bit before that. We
It
had
was.
Yeah.
It was at the Valentine's
That's
thing.
right. That
Game
was
and
about
chill.
time.
Game and Chill.
That's
Game and
what it
Chill.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I actually enjoyed.
Yeah, it
I
was
really,
cool.
I really
was I
enjoyed
there?
that.
No,
No.
we was with PGML. PGML was there.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
Game and Chill. I remember that. It was at VO's Realm. That was like one of the first times I had even been there.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah,
Mm.
and it was
Yeah.
a partnership with them, and it went really well that night. So that was a cool experience. And then I got to meet y'all, so
Right.
that was a bonus for sure.
So we stayed in touch. That was almost what?
That was like almost
Almost
a year
ago.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
wow.
Yeah.
About 8 months
About 8 months ago.
Yeah.
So really early on in our gaming.
in 2019.
Mhm.
Yeah. So yeah, man. So we're really happy to have you here finally.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I'm
I'm
glad to be here.
been trying to get this guy here for a while now.
So what have
Logistics.
Yeah.
Oh, logistics.
Yeah. That's just how you sum it up real fast.
Okay.
Pretty
Real
much,
fast.
man. So I guess how would you describe what you do in Atlanta as far as the gaming scene?
I think it's I would describe it as a service. So like
Yeah.
I like to come out as GameNerd Boogie, which is my persona, and deliver what GameNerd delivers as a company, which is an unmatched or unparalleled gaming experience that's brought to you. So a lot of times we'll have game systems at our house, but we don't want to go from 3 to 4 as fast, or 4 to 5 like that's coming up soon with the next gen consoles. And I want to bring it to people where there's value there and they can experience it through me, if they don't want to invest into that equipment on their own. So, I brought that to bars. I bring that experience to a birthday party, team building,
Right.
family reunions, wherever people want to be occupied for a little bit by the game. I just come set up my equipment. And the city seems to vibe well with that service. And there's a lot of game trucks and things as well.
They say
Yeah.
like different businesses and people in the city.
And it's similar to a game truck, but again, I took the liberty to remove the truck to make it accommodate more people a little better.
Right.
So sometimes a truck, you can fit 8 to 10 people in there, but then you got people hanging outside that can't really be engaged. So
Kind of be like a vibe, I guess.
a pop-up arcade, so to speak.
Yeah.
Nice. I love the pop-up arcade. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
I was gonna say, how long you said you've been doing this for?
2 years now.
2 years.
Yeah.
Now we was talking a little bit before the podcast.
Yeah.
What did you do? How did you get into this? What did you do
Right.
before then?
So before then, I'm an entrepreneur in all ways. So I always try to find ways to capitalize off my likes and talents.
Right.
Like that's just huge for me to be low stress and unsupervised, more importantly. And I was a graphic designer by trade. So I make logos every day, still to this day. I charge about $100 each for them.
That's so cool.
Yeah, you can
I didn't
get-
know that.
Yeah, you
That's
can
cool.
get those things going. It helps me in my other businesses where I don't have to wait for those designs.
Yeah, because you can do it
Yeah.
yourself, all
So-
in-house.
Right.
Yeah, in-house is
Strive to
very
be
important.
in-house.
So that was a big deal. And just, doing that for a while, I had a son. I ended up getting into teaching because with being an entrepreneur, your insurance doesn't look very well, or it's very expensive to have insurance as an entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What about that Obamacare?
That shit is expensive too.
Yeah, it's through the roof. But so I end up teaching because with the teaching job, you get really good insurance.
Oh, yeah.
And as well as help me back my business without loans or,
Right.
having to take money from
Right,
other
right.
people's pocket.
What do you teach?
So I teach graphic design and fine art at Mays High School at APS.
Nice.
Off Cascade.
shout out.
That's so cool.
So
Yeah.
you teach like was the vocational / the specialty. You're not like is that considered like a core situation? Like,
Yeah, it's more of a
Elective?
elective. Yeah, so something that in the school's eyes is a pathway for someone that I want to be an entrepreneur or graphic artist or
Very
fine
important.
artist.
So the
Very
kids,
important.
the kids who get in that class, they're probably low. They're not as, you know what I mean?
Well, they're not as rough around the edges usually. Sometimes, we'll get some people that I have to. They're not necessarily interested in art, so
gotcha.
or graphic design
Right.
or anything at that age. They haven't really found that thing yet. So I try to make, the things I like their thing.
See, I was curious about like does doing that help with what you're doing now, like the communication with people? Like, hey, it seems like you're here, but maybe you can, you know what I mean? Does that
Definitely. I think to motivate people, I think in teaching at the school or even working with people through my design business and getting them to realize that their business can be a real viable source of income, as long as it looks good and you perform well. It's just motivating other individuals to have the experience of an entrepreneur as I do, because I know that really is what will set us free in a capitalistic type of society.
Absolutely.
So you'll feel ran over unless you're doing your own thing.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true. And then it gives you an outlet to be creative and explore your little stuff.
Definitely.
little stuff? Wow,
And as creators or artists
Your
in
little
general,
creation. Look at your little creation.
I know, right?
your little creation.
But sometimes we get so wrapped up on the actual art that we don't take time to really think about the business aspect.
Oh yeah.
So starting early as possible is so important, man.
Yeah. See. Yeah.
There's another thing too I think is valuable is like eSports. I know I don't think you touched on that in your explanation. Do you think about eSports, especially with it going to high school and things of that nature?
It's kind of a collision of worlds at this point for me, because they're now bringing esports into my high school as a varsity sport.
Amazing.
So now you can you have to take a
Amazing.
physical.
Wait.
Can you say that one more time?
Yeah,
for
say
real?
that
Like,
one
is that
more
real?
time.
I want to make sure everybody hears that.
Yeah,
Say that one more time.
esports is a varsity sport in high school now, APS. So if you were to go to a high school and want to play, I think it's League of Legends, Rocket League, and maybe Smite
Tetris?
right now.
Oh, okay.
But those 3 games
Oh, that's so
are,
cool.
you test out, you got to try out, you got to pass a physical, and have the grades to participate.
Wait.
Yeah. So
I love
hold
this.
on.
I love this.
It's the physical.
So let
The
me-
future looks bright
so
for
let
my
me-
children.
Let me ask a question, because I don't want to hear no jokes.
Yeah.
But when
No
I was in high school, I tried out for the basketball team,
Right.
and there was
Who you dunking on?
I tried for the basketball team, and so when you say there's a physical,
Right.
there's a tryout, and you have to do grades and stuff, right?
Mhm.
So what does that look like for games? Because
ever-
it's like you for basketball you got to run all over the place.
I got
to
this.
run up and down, do push-ups. Like
pressure.
Have you ever played Thumb War? When you
that's the tryout.
Well, they
That's
really-
not the tryout.
okay, I mean,
I
That's
think
not-
at this point they have a lot more great ideas and money ready to back how it's all going to work than they actually have.
So this is early on in the process, basically.
It's happening right
So it's
now.
low key Wild West. We're gonna learn as we go.
Right.
Yeah,
so,
pretty much.
So basically, for APS, Access Replay is a place they want to go and hold the practices and the tryouts and the
Yeah.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. Okay.
And probably the matches because they don't
Okay.
have a.
So right, and now APS is just getting set up into their annual budget, which is already passed, to be able to pay for those buses for every school to get them there.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
so, like,
huge.
So that's what may be stopping it just for this year, but next year
It'll be.
So is this esports league going to be like normal sports where you guys compete over, like with schools like in your
Yeah.
district and stuff
Yeah.
like that?
Oh,
So
absolutely.
other schools in your district have this as well?
definitely.
That is
And
weird.
I think it'll start in APS first, and then it'll start to get out to Fulton and DeKalb. And
That is really cool, because it's like going Friday night football games, Friday night Smite tournament.
Yeah.
Friday night tournament or whatever. Yeah.
That's
yeah, that's
crazy.
cool.
Yeah.
Could you
It's
imagine being
about
on
to get
JV?
crazy.
But
Ooh,
that's
that's
another
gotta hurt,
question.
right?
That's
gotta
another
hurt.
question. It's like you junior varsity gaming team. Like, how do you like?
it might be, well, and from the turnout that we had at the school, it seems like it's about 65 people interested. So that's more than it would try out for any of the other sports.
That's more than the band. Probably.
So do you think bullying's gonna change now? Like if you get cut from like League of Legends team, they're gonna be like, bro, you suck. Because like usually you get dunked on and then it's like, all right, I get it, I'm trash. But
once you get good at something, you start feeling yourself.
Yeah.
You start walking around the hall different.
So you mean to tell me the motherfucking homecoming king or the guy at prom, he gets confidence? Hey girl, you're not just winning this tournament, bitch.
Boost him up.
Come on.
I know, because then you have the popular football players. So
Right.
then it's like, what is a popular kid?
I don't
League
know.
of
I don't
Legends?
know. We gonna find out.
I will say this.
Yeah.
And when I'm 30, so for the most part,
As is most of us.
Yeah.
when I grew up liking all the stuff that we're even talking about right now was like, you're in the minority.
Yeah, you're weird.
They're not hiding that.
Or
in this
no,
day and
I
age.
can let me rephrase that. I think there was some well-roundedness maybe. So like you go to the homie's house, y'all play the game, but you're gonna go outside too. You're gonna play kickball,
definitely,
baseball.
definitely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was a mix of
Yeah.
stuff.
And to your point, the gamers these days are probably more dedicated than.
Yeah.
They're not stepping foot outside.
Because when we was kids,
No.
it was like
They no
know, weird.
SPF needed. So
No.
they
Oh,
good.
damn.
Damn, get them off of there. But
Yeah.
like again, they're doing a good job of more of them being included in anime and gaming and
Yeah.
things.
It's
naturally.
hip hop now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're kind of more. They're bigger groups of those kids than when I was in high school.
Can I ask a
I
quick
mean-
question? How do you feel about that change as you see it, like progressing? Like based on when you went to school.
Well, I think it's a great thing because one of the things that I know about artists or people that are creative or people who like anime or video games is that they're dedicated and willing to back it in front of anyone.
Right,
so
right.
that's what makes you a nerd, or that's what makes you a certain way in other people's eyes because they just don't value it like you do. And those things seem to be valued by less than the majority. So anyone who's willing to stand there behind those things, then they're a solid person because
Right.
it was scrutinized a lot more in the past again, but now I think maybe us standing up for that, our age group standing up for those
absolutely.
things,
Most definitely.
now ushered into this new group of kids. They're not ashamed to. They love it. It's the biggest culture.
So as a parent, are you gonna be like pushing your kids more towards like video games, like growing up, or are you gonna be like pushing them to go outside?
New LeBron.
'Cause that's been like, yeah.
Well, I know the question that you're asking. I would say studying a bit of psychology, I'm just gonna let my kid go.
Yeah, just let him do whatever.
Direction
Mhm.
he
Yeah.
goes, I'm gonna support. But I will say, if it happens to be games, I'm gonna let him go.
Okay.
If he wants to be a gamer, I'm just gonna make every avenue available to him to make sure he's the best one. You can't just be lazy.
No.
Good answer.
Especially-
good answer.
Good answer.
Especially
Great
like
answer.
if it's starting in high school, they also have it in college as well.
Yep.
Gaming in college. Like we had a comment one of our previous episodes where I guess somebody in the comments said that their son or their daughter
Their son.
No, their son. Their
Yeah.
son.
Yeah.
They went to like Western Michigan or something like that.
Right.
What?
you go to school for gaming.
Yeah, it's happening right now.
Yeah.
It's full
Georgia
scholarship.
State.
And they had a whole tour of the facility. She was telling us in the comments and like how they're dedicating all this money towards it, and he's so excited and glad that we were touching on the subject because it's here now.
It is.
Wow.
It's here.
So it's still kind of like in the wild west phase. So I have a question for you. With that being said, how's that been impacting your business being in Atlanta and trying to figure out and navigate with this this new wave of gaming?
I think it's more just scrambling, trying to get it together,
Yeah.
and make it one. Staying a step ahead.
Yeah.
There's waves that come through our society all the time. You can capitalize off of if you're ready when it comes. So
Right.
just being ready and available for the next group of systems that comes out, the next wave of kids that's saying that they are gamers. Just supporting them in whether it's the reviews that I do for the games or showing equipment when it comes out immediately so people can experience it before they invest in it, because the investment part is the hardest thing, especially with video games are getting better, but they're also getting more expensive.
Man.
And they're going to continue to climb into the thousands.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we'll be sitting in our house with a $5,000 rig,
Yeah.
and we're coming from $200 rigs at this point. So
Yep.
Yeah.
it's going to be adjustment for the consumers and adjustment for the eSports, sponsors. And I just would like to be there somewhere to pull it together for everybody,
Yeah.
No, I'm not sure we covered this, but how did you so before you were doing graphic design, right?
Mm-hmm.
At what point did you say I'm about to start selling gaming experience? Like how did that?
I think it was seeing the game truck. The first game truck I saw.
Wow.
Sometimes I think I do have jealous bones in my body, and
That's what's
I don't take them as jealousy though.
Yeah.
I think everybody has them maybe, but
I'll be hating.
Wait, hold on.
I'll be hating all the time.
Can you slow down on this point?
Yeah.
I want you to slow down. Like, what do you mean?
So I saw a game truck for the first time, and I just remember the feeling.
What was that feeling?
It was that I really want to be a part of it. It was something I really wanted to be a part of. It was new. I had never seen it, and it was like somebody's driving around with a truck with games on it, making money.
I remember the first time I saw
like
it too. Yeah.
Why am I not?
Right.
That was okay.
And then that's why I always would explain GameNerd as taking the truck away, because that's how it made it viable for me to enter that market and be different, without having to do exactly what I saw. I kind of saw, okay, this could be limiting and having a truck. So if I have tables, a generator, some tents, I can service more people with the same
different environments. Right.
So that that now is leaning into training people that want to be esports athletes.
Right.
Bringing equipment to birthday parties to have a whole
Really
rec league play together in one room.
And how long does this process take from like, oh man, I saw you had this feeling versus you had your first customer?
Well, it was a bit, and I just had to go with what I could do at the time. So at the time of the idea, I didn't have any money for the idea because I just thought of the idea. And I think that would happen to a lot of people that have a dream of a company they want.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's a natural and healthy place to be. And from there, I never got desperate in my next moves. I always want to stay low on interest or, owing anybody or things like that.
Patient.
Right.
You was patient.
So I started working at the school, and that's what brought me the capital to then invest and pay my bills at the same time.
So I was curious because based on you had this idea, like how much were you gaming at that point? Like before you saw the truck, where were your gaming levels?
So that was
let's say like pre-truck versus post-truck. Where were you as a gamer?
I was hardcore. So and now,
like before.
Yeah, before.
Okay.
And it wasn't that I've been gaming since Sega Genesis, Nintendo 64. I've always got the next thing. Since then. So I'm an OG gamer almost, because some of the kids don't even know what a Nintendo 64 is.
Low
That's
key,
crazy though. When you think about that, it's just wild.
Low key, I'm becoming that old man. Like I'm a
you can feel it talking to them.
Yeah,
And they're playing Mario Kart on their cell phone now, and I'm trying to tell them like that was
the
an
same.
original game.
It's not the
on the
same.
64, and they're like, whatever, Mr. Johnson.
You don't get it, man.
So the whole class could be playing, Mario Kart in the room together at the same time
so
on the phone.
cool.
So it's very cool what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
It's very distracting in a school setting.
Well, of course.
It's not productive
But
at
hey,
all.
I shouldn't be playing games in school anyway.
I'm so in the
except for if it's Baji.
I'll jump in with him, because
I'll bust your ass.
Bow, bow, bow. That's my culture. So
I'm glad you kind of said that. What kind of teacher are you? Like, are you like a cool teacher, or are
He
you
just
like
say
kind
he's
of
gonna
strict?
bust their ass in Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Pick up them
They
sticks.
can't.
So, like,
a lot
I'm
of
curious.
times they don't. They say that I'm like a teacher on a movie or something like that.
Oh, you be saving them?
Oh, that was
Like, wait, hold on. Wait, you the one who be like, I see you have potential.
Well-
Maybe got the one.
Well, I won't.
Mr. L Boogie believed in me.
I do.
Writing
I
his
can't-
journal.
I'm very empathetic. I know I'm an empath by nature, so working in the school is very hard because I see so many.
Don't
faces.
don't tell me you take it home with you.
No, I don't go that far. But if I miss a day or something, I feel it.
You feel it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Okay,
hard.
that's good though.
Yeah, but they know I care about them, and I don't let them do that until they get their work done.
But you know
So,
what? I will say I had teachers like that. They were very, very, very few and far in between, but I will always remember them.
Yeah.
I always had those one or two. It was like literally a handful of teachers throughout my whole career going
Definitely.
to school that I knew that cared about me, that would be like, hey, did you want to keep you on the right track, whatever. Those were the best teachers.
Yeah.
And as a kid, you think you know everything, but you know that you want to do most of the things people are telling you not to do. So when somebody's staying on you on the right way and not letting up, then later you appreciate it more.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, kids don't appreciate things till they get like what 20, 27,
30.
30.
Basically.
I'm calling teachers back like,
Yeah,
You was right.
You were the best. At the time, I gave you hell,
Right,
but
right.
you were the best.
Curse you out.
So what's the future for I guess GameNerd Boogie? I guess can I ask that? Like, what's the future? Like,
yeah,
what's the
definitely.
future goals?
That's all I think about. So usually at this point, it's the same as it was when I started, and right now we're just living through the process of, maturation, which is natural for everything.
Right.
So I'm just hoping to in the end have a venue that all of us could go to, you know, that's not based off the overhead of liquor or based off the lights being on or anything like that. We could just come chill and play the game. And I think that, you know, we're manifesting that now, you know, through a podcast, through going and making some money at the school, you know, motivating kids, being part of eSports. It's all like a part of that big picture. And then at the end, when you actually have this venue, then you have had, you know, been in eSports, have been on this, been on that through time where it's already full of people. You know, by the time you open it, it's not going to be a...
You know what people to go to, you know who's in the community, what's going on in the community. It's so important. And like, do you ever fear about, I guess not fear, but you ever think about like investors coming into Atlanta and just dropping a big building and saying, we the new place?
It happened. You know, we were at, I remember being at the Red Bull Challenge at the garage, I think, in Georgia Tech. And a man randomly walked up to me, out of all people, because I had a Game Nerd shirt on, but he just came to me. He was like, so how many places are this like in Atlanta? I was like what? He was like, that are esports places. I was like, well, this is not even an esports place. This is a bar. You know, he was like, oh, so there's no esports places? I'm like, no. And like, I think 20 minutes later, he comes back with a card for a place called Access Replay.
What?
And he said they don't have a place yet. They don't have nowhere for it to go. They don't know anything about the gaming landscape of the city. So I gave him my number. He calls me for the soft opening of it. And I also met him at DreamHack last year. Because it hadn't opened yet. And he gave me a ticket to come there and see it open. It went from being an idea at that point to less than 9 months later being what it is right now.
Wow.
Where you see it standing. So that's very intimidating for someone saying that they want to jump into that game. Because it's billion-dollar corporations all behind it.
Who can execute.
But they don't have the community, you know, and they don't have the, you know, that's all we can stand behind because we don't got that capital that they got, you know.
And gaming is such a buzz now. It's so scary that, you know, it takes, years to build, you know, and the investor can come in and be like, oh, here you go, GameSpot. You know, we'll just figure it out later.
What?
So people like,
because I mean, it's a real estate thing. All you're doing is taking the space, is you're taking the venue and just adding some, you know.
And they had plans for 2 at that time, so it's definitely about to be another one that pop up at some point.
Oh, absolutely.
Because they already had it planned out before that one was up.
Yeah, as far as expanding and popping up everywhere and things of that nature, and it's like, so where does that leave, you know, people like us, you know, we're like the local guys who you know get in the community, like. Do you ever think about that? Like, where does that leave for people like us?
I think we just take advantage of their money. Like, not trying to be, you know, any certain type of way, but again, we're in a capitalistic environment where you got to capitalize.
Fuck you, pay me.
So,
wow.
And we know they're desperate for real culture. So at the end of the day, you can always use them in that way, and they can use us.
Well, you just mentioned Red Bull. What does it sound? What is it called?
The Red Bull Challenge.
Yeah,
they had like Tekken and Darkstalkers, I think. It was
so Red Bull does that. They do the concert. Like they're just saying, give us the culture and we'll sponsor it. You know what I mean? And that's basically what they're saying.
That's America.
Basically.
Yeah, Off-White and Nike, Off-White and like Prada, I think was together. So all these different more cultural entities are, you know, being called upon by the bigger corporations now to give them some flavor.
Yeah.
So we'll always be that, you know, whether we realize it or not.
Because we live and breathe that, you know.
Yeah.
I love seeing you guys at the events because you guys are like, you're talking to the gamers, right? And there's a part of the gaming community that gets ignored. It's the older gamers, you know. Yeah. And nobody thinks about the 25 and up type of gamers. Everybody's thinking about those, you know, high school, you know, college and things of that nature. But it's like
the MTV crowd.
Yeah.
Just the fact that I said MTV crowd lets you know.
You know what that is.
If you know that analogy.
Right.
So it's like we've been playing games since like forever. You know, we have not outgrown that, you know. And we need places where we can go and play games because, you know, nobody want to go to the club anymore. No. You know?
Well,
every weekend?
Not every weekend, definitely not.
You know what I mean?
If you got that clout.
You know what I'm saying? You know?
Definitely not.
So,
I like to club on the computer.
So it is refreshing that we have expanded that because as we get older, you know, sometimes we want to go to a gaming lounge or someplace to kind of go and network. You know, I don't play golf, but I play Soul Calibur
and Mario Golf.
So I can talk business while I'm beating somebody up in Soul Calibur. You know,
I have a risque question for the gamers.
Oh, what you got?
This is risque. So anybody getting cheeks clapped from gaming?
Really?
Wait, what?
Wait. I'll say this. I've seen some people connect at the Smash Thursday playing a game.
Okay.
I mean, but that's the thing. If you share an interest with somebody, just like if you go to the club, there's an interest there that you share for dancing and listening to music.
Yeah.
The
But what's the
interest
like-
with music and playing a game.
What's
Like,
the-
oh, you play Spyro too. You know,
No,
like
for real.
Let me tap that circle
For
button.
real?
Yeah.
you said tap the what?
That circle button. You know what I'm saying?
That's about to be a shirt.
I know we got
That is
we
true.
got to make the shirt.
That is true.
before
You gotta
somebody
make that
else
shirt.
does it.
Y'all
That's a
gotta
great
make,
shirt.
y'all gotta
Oh,
make
yeah,
that
yeah.
happen.
Make that
Make
happen.
that happen.
I guess I'm saying, like, what's the probability we you playing the game online? How you gonna link?
You know what? I'm not gonna touch on that, but it's happened.
So, I will say this though. I will say this.
Oh, wait.
Female gamers are pretty much 50% of the gaming market.
Oh yeah, it's big.
But these venues have a hard time bringing girls there. I don't know if it's because of smells or because of
It's
just
100% the smell.
I was about to say, like,
So
for
let's-
sure, top 2 reasons.
All right, so let's talk to Boogie about this.
All
So
right.
from your business and your experience,
Yeah.
from your
how do you
cli-
get the hose?
Wow, wow,
I would say
His students are going to be watching this, man.
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
What I was gonna say was
the old buttons, circle buttons.
the O's.
how do you bring your female clientele, your women clientele?
I think they. I've
Much more
seen
polite.
women come to the game night looking for gamers, and I think they're probably a little more
Really?
open to adapting to an environment and being open to meeting somebody of it than a man would, So
Yeah.
sometimes at those Smash events, you'll see girls that came totally by themselves. They'll sit down playing by themselves.
Okay,
I gotta keep it business, so I kind of wait for somebody else to shoot their shot. But the availability be there,
So-
where somebody could.
so how do men show up for those events? What's their agenda?
They usually show up with another guy,
With the homies.
or, yeah,
Yeah,
or
homies.
a girl with them already,
Okay.
where they come in to play together.
Yeah.
So I think the guys have a harder time coming to a game night alone, thinking they're gonna find a girl, and I think that's what the issue is. They don't think a gamer
And
girl's gonna come.
I 100% agree, because when I was younger, in my early 20s, I would love to have seen something like this, because I would have went to something like that looking for,
Yeah. I like mine.
looking for
for
the
some-
triangle button.
Triangle button. Oh. Wow.
But all I had was clubs,
Yeah.
so
Right.
that's what I had to go to. I didn't have.
I think our analogies
Looking
are
for
off.
some joysticks.
Yeah. Wouldn't one person be looking for the triangle button? Somebody else look for the analog.
Joystick.
Yeah.
Yeah, look for R3.
Yeah.
Joystick is
I
dangerous.
thought joystick would have been too obvious. But
Yeah,
you
it
know,
would.
whatever.
Okay, what's up, man?
But I 100% agree.
But you-
I think girls will definitely have that. I feel like we would put ourselves there, because girl gamers, we always felt like we were minorities.
Yeah,
Now,
So
but,
when we
but what age group? I guess what I'm getting at is we're talking like our 20s, but
Right.
for the kids or they're coming up with this esports stuff, they're teenagers.
Yeah.
We're going to get these social skills to kind of get. So once they're in their 20s, they can go to these events and hey, what's up?
It's becoming more noble to them. So like they'll even speak on events that I show them that I go to that they can't get in yet.
Right.
When they're like, oh, I can't wait, so I can
Yeah.
be that old to get in and drink, because they know about drinking and smoke. They know
So
about all that.
so
stuff.
it's like it doesn't matter. They're still excited to socialize.
and
There's
they may have a new way of communicating. By the time these
so look, we're gonna have.
teenagers get older.
We have
Yeah.
implants. LOL. Just telecommunications.
I mean,
It's
ain't no
getting
telling.
crazy out here.
But
Facts.
it is. It is.
It's about to be a Black Mirror episode in like
I
2
know,
years.
Yeah, it is one.
It's so
Yeah,
I have a
VR.
quick question for GameNerd. I think this will be the last one. I
Yeah.
think. But why Xbox? I always saw like you when you have your setups, it's mostly Xbox, which I love, because a lot of other setups mainly focus on like PS4s and
Right,
PlayStations and like old Nintendos. And why Xbox?
It gives you the most bang for the buck, and like again, I'm not like Access Replay or nothing like that, so I had to
Right.
find my way to get the most stuff the fastest.
In-house, yep.
They do sell a very quality product in that 1S with the 4K and HDR at $199 sometimes. That's an amazing deal for a console,
Right.
for
Yeah.
anybody to have.
Right.
I know a lot of people like PlayStation more, but they're delivering a little bit less at a little more cost than a PS4 that's not a PS4 Pro.
Right.
So in buying a whole bunch of them, it was just faster to buy the Xboxes.
The scale. Yeah.
And they perform. You know, they're pretty durable.
Yeah.
They're not like the 360s, which you know you could
Red ring, baby.
Red ring and get
I had
you
one.
Time.
But then again, the 360 was my favorite.
Yeah, 360 was
console.
Yeah, some stuff.
And I love Xbox, and I sometimes I feel away because people shit on them all the time. So that's why I was like, oh, he got Xbox. That's cool. That's what stood out to me.
They always set the expectation as being the most powerful. And when you're talking about a group of consumers that are nerds or that are gamers, the scrutiny is gonna come harder than any other
gamers
place.
are the hardest people
so
to
you
please.
don't
Absolutely.
say, and it even goes to the games that are free.
Yep.
Like Apex had to sneak out so it wouldn't get scrutinized. They
that
did
is
sneak
so
out.
true.
They sneaked it out so people just didn't have no expectation, and now it's one of the best games ever. But it's just because they didn't spend $1 million to promote it, because we would have bashed it
Exactly.
for them spending $1 million.
I do have to ask one more question then, because on this point, is this like an iPhone versus Android thing? You know
It
what I mean?
is.
Well, for me,
But I'm saying no, from your perspective versus the gamer's perspective.
because I always have all of it. So for me, my perspective is always grand. Like, I'm not really a fanboy at all. Like, whatever's giving me the best at the moment, that's what I'm gonna say is actually the best.
So you feel you're more objective.
Right.
You feel like most people are just
Definitely. I know
subject,
that for a
very
fact.
I used to be that way.
Why? But why?
I used to be that way too.
No,
Why?
I'm just saying. I used to be like, I'll own every game console and everything like that. But I just got to a point where it's just like I need to ride with one for a while.
Oh, I got
Now,
you.
if Scarlet come out and be my expectations, maybe I'll go back to owning more than one console.
What is Scarlet?
The
The
next
The new
Yeah.
Xbox.
Well, and to
Oh,
everyone's defense, the PS4 was a better system in the past, and now it
But
just kind of has
yeah.
changed
And
based off power.
And I
Right.
feel like as I've gotten older, I feel that way because I was a hard Xbox 360 fan until the PS4 came out. And I'm like, oh, this
Same
Yeah,
here.
the PS3 was the bomb. Like it was better than the 360. And even before that, the PlayStations were really good. But they got to a point where Sony didn't want to invest as much into it as they had in the past because of the money. They weren't getting the money back.
Right.
And you'll still have fans, that'll ride with it. But the actual product to this point becomes better out of a PS4 Pro or Xbox One S or X. Those will give you really good.
Just like iPhone people. Until them pixels cameras, like that photos, like, oh, check that with a pixel. Oh.
Somebody comes in. But yeah, they're all pretty solid.
Yeah.
I would say they're pretty much the same. PlayStation probably has better games, and then
Yeah.
Xbox builds better hardware.
Yeah. Hardware is amazing. So shout out to Xbox.
So I guess where can people find you at?
On Instagram, GameNerd _Boogie. Also GameNerd _ for the company. So between those two pages, I do a lot of marketing and pubbing for tournaments, reviews, video unboxings, trying to make it all accessible to a community. And if you follow it, if everybody's a game nerd, it's not like a exclusive club or anything like that.
No.
It's just if you spend a certain amount of time playing the game, you're automatically
You already
in it.
nerd.
Yeah.
It's not
That's
even that type of party. So we'll start to come out with merchandise soon, and hopefully we can get people
Snap.
and gamer gear represent themselves.
Represent. I got
And what
that.
they spend time doing.
Absolutely, man. Definitely happy, finally have you over here.
Get them logistics down.
You know what I'm saying?
Together.
As
Network.
always, please let us know how we can support. We are the wall.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I was playing on words out.
And I just wanted to add one thing, man. Keep doing what you're doing. I like what you're doing. Like what I'm hearing, because not only you're involved with the gaming side, but as well with the teaching and everything
Oh,
like
right,
that.
yeah.
That's a dope synergy with what you're doing, because I think it goes hand in hand.
Yeah,
And I can
love
feel
people
that.
up.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I would urge more people, even if you have a bachelor's or master's degree, to think about teaching. The benefits are immense, especially for your family. You get the summer and holidays off, which is hard to do in a lot of other industries.
That is true.
And they're paying better and better. So it's not like as a teacher that you're not getting paid as a professional anymore. They're upping the ante on the pay. So
That sounds like a good alternative.
the kids need us for sure.
Absolutely.
Don't try to guilt me in the class.
Give back.
Absolutely.
I'm writing check.
Hey, community open competition. Gotta do it.
Hashtag.
Hashtag.
That's the phrase that pays.
Yes.
Absolutely, man. So I guess that closes us out.
Yes. Find us on Welcome to the Wall podcast on Instagram. Check out GameNerd Boogie. Check out his dope setups and everything.
Support.
And, Smash Thursdays still. I think that's about it.
All right, cool.
Stay in school.
Yeah, stay in school.
Don't be a fool. Stay in school. Boom.
And if you walk past my house acting crazy, I'm calling the police.
Huh?
Dang.